For any other new business before we move on to old business? Okay, go ahead.
Cindy, this,
Hang on one
I'm
second.
sorry.
I don't know yet. So there was been a request by the Parks and Rec Board to add an additional auxiliary member. Are we willing to consider that addition? I don't see why not, but who is it?
The name is Jack Swaffle. I don't have a resume, I don't have any interest, just a name. It was given to me.
I don't see why not. I feel like they can get all the hands they can get, so I'd say we make a motion to add Jack, what was his last name? Stronghold to the Parks and Rec Auxiliary Board. Before we move on, we need to open that up again also for questions, comments, concerns. Okay. I take a motion for that. I made the motion. You'll second, Tom. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I apologize for that. Okay. Board of Supervisors discussion of old business. 143-2019, consider the request for time extension of the conditional use application 2017-034 for a proposed self-storage facility. Applicant SPV Holdings LLC, Tom Robinson, location Northside South Point Boulevard, Morganza, C1, General Commercial Zoning District. The conditional use received Board of Supervisors approval on March 5th, 2018. Hi again.
Greg Benner with Key Environmental representing SPV Holdings. Yes, we had submitted a request for the extension of the conditional use approval for self-storage facility on the SPV property. Admittedly, we submitted it after the one-year deadline. You had approved the conditional use on March 5th of 2018. I should have gotten you a letter prior to March 5th, 2019. It was something that slipped by us. We went ahead and submitted it, hoping that you would consider it. The basic thing is we were not asking for an extension beyond the date of what we would have had we got it in on time. So, we submitted it beyond March. We're not asking for that extension to be beyond March, just to the March 5th of 2020.
I can only speak for myself, and I totally understand it. It was an oversight, but unfortunately, my personal preference would be to say, and I do understand it's board discretion, but to say, it wasn't a month, it wasn't a couple weeks, your extension expired in March and you came to us in July.
Right.
So I would say, most likely if you go, I don't want to speak like most likely it would pass should we go through another conditional use hearing, but unfortunately I think that's the process.
I mean, we understand the position we put you in. If you decline it, we'll just be back at the appropriate time requesting the conditional use approval again.
I would say, unfortunately, I can only speak for myself, but that's unfortunately the situation that would have to happen.
I think you have to resubmit because otherwise you're going to set a precedence for everybody.
I understand that you have that.
That expires.
We wanted to give it a shot. Again, we were not asking for anything beyond that year.
Yeah, we understand.
So you're not going beyond, or doing anything out of the ordinary with respect to that date.
Again, because we have to take a vote on this, we're going to open this up for public comment. Any questions, comments, concerns from the public?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think you ought to give it to them because you're just going to go through the same exercise for the gentleman. Hi, I'm Kate McCullough again. Why put somebody through it when it might be several months, but why put somebody through all the time, effort, and money to come back in and basically try again?
To follow
Because we
our
have
rules.
rules and
To
regulations.
follow our rules. Our rules say you have to apply prior to the expiration of the application, which they did not do. And so that's what the rules say, so that's what we need to follow.
Okay, well, I'm just going on the record. I think you ought to give them that exception.
Thank you.
Yeah, but then you're going to do it for everyone.
Right. So I'm going to open this up for a vote. For a motion to consider the request for a time extension. So unfortunately it dies for lack of a motion.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, we'll see at the appropriate time.
I will get comment. Okay. Okay, so just for a bit of clarification, there was an executive session held today, started about 6:15 this evening. We discussed the ABD property with our legal counsel, and now we're going to open it up for citizens' general comments and questions.
May I speak, please?
Yes, please, that's what I did.
I'm Kate McCullough at 107 Fairway Landings Drive. And in the solicitor's report, Gretchen Moore mentioned a right to know appeal. I was the person that submitted that appeal. It was a simple request for as-built drawings that went to actually the state open records officer. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted to be on the agenda. My first question is, was the board aware of any appeal prior to tonight? Did anybody inform them? The engineer, the township manager, or the solicitor?
So the process with right to know appeals is that I, as the solicitor, support the township and work with the township manager to respond to those appeals. And we were successful in that appeal, and that particular case is now closed.
That's one particular item, but Ms. Moore, during our email exchange, number one, you stated, or Alexis Wheeler stated, that you had mailed me your appeal as far as for the township. I never received it. The only way I was aware of it is Mr. Blake Ellsler sent me a copy of your email submission. And Mr. Ellsler made it very clear that when any submission was made, all parties should have had it at the same time. Members of the township had my email address. That wasn't addressed. Number two, I put it on the record that both the township engineer, Gateway Engineers, and your law firm have a conflict of interest as far as anything related to me. As a matter of fact, is Laura Gutnick still a member of your law firm?
Yes, she is a shareholder.
She's a shareholder. What's her position other than shareholder? Is she on your board? You have a board of directors? I know David Strasburger is your president. What's your role with the
Ms.
firm?
McCullough, I'm not sure what your angle is here tonight. You
I'm
submitted a right to know appeal, and you lost, and the appeal's over.
No, you had a conflict of interest that if you read the laws, a public official, which you prepared an attestation for both Dawn Januso and for your township engineer to win that appeal. As a conflicted counsel, did you inform Cecil Township of your conflict of interest? Mr. Ehlers was aware of it. It was in there and you unaddressed that in a multiple email chain of 14 emails.
Ms. McCullough, you sent 14 emails. I do not have a conflict of interest. I am aware of my professional responsibilities, and if I have a conflict of interest, I have to recuse myself. I don't have a conflict of interest, and I did my job in preparing the people who I work for their attestations, which is my job in
Okay,
defending
well,
right to
this
know
is what I'm
requests.
going to do. I'm going to take this matter to court. But also, in that email exchange, I made Mr. Ehlers to make it aware to the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office because a conflict of interest, once you prepared a document for Dawn Januso's without the board approval, without notifying them of the conflict, and let them decide, you have a problem. And there's a state disciplinary board, and there's a state ethics commission as far as Mr. Dijsselhoff, and Gateway Engineers. And at the Planning Commission back in June, I informed them of this conflict. I don't need to see anything else. I will see all of you in court. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Any other citizens' comments?
Cindy, what is this for? Are we open for anything?